morning. Welcome to another investigation into kick-assery. And this chick that I've got right here totally kicks ass. My name is Dale Maxwell. This is Michelle Jakovac. And what is kick-assery? Basically, I've been doing live streaming now for almost 3 years, and the technology and the platforms and everything have just gotten so easy that I just wanted to talk to a bunch of buddies and a bunch of people in my life, and people that, whether they've directly or indirectly influenced me, the people who kick ass, period. And I just jumped on here one day. I'm like, you know what? We're doing this. And I reached out to Michelle here a while back. I said, hey, you're going to be on this, by the way. And she's like, no, I'm not. No. And guess who I have on here? Check this out. So, Michelle, who are you, and why do you put up with me?
You're the only person that I would let do this. Like, kind of, this is not my jam, but it's just because we go way back.
See, I am not above using bribery, guilt. I'm not above those things.
Yeah, that's for sure. You'll have to excuse me this morning. I'm kind of nasally. I've got a test cold, so if I start hacking or sound funny, that's why.
Just stop smoking. All right, so who are you?
I'm Michelle Jakovac, originally from Salmon, Idaho, and I'm a realtor here in Boise. And that's just kind of what I do every day, 7 days a week, slinging houses. So.
Slinging houses. I love it. I love it. Okay, so Michelle, man, you and I are way too much alike because you sell yourself so freaking short. It's insane. And the thing, okay, I got to lay this out in the beginning. I have to lay this out in the beginning because, and you hate it when I tell you these things, but this is the reality of it. Is Michelle was like the kid. I mean, she was the popular kid. She was the beautiful kid. She was class president. She was the shit, and she still is, right? And where I grew up, and kind of my personality growing up was I was not that. You know, I was just the goofy little kid. I didn't start school with everyone because I went to private school. I didn't come in and start hanging with you guys and going to school with you guys until 8th grade. And you know, this week we've already talked. I talked with Andy Smith last week. Huge mentor, huge influence on my life. Nancy Chapman, you and I already discussed that. You know, Nancy was our leader, our leadership leader forever. And the thing that I appreciate and respect so much about you is that we were, even though it was a small town, it was still very cliquish. Yeah. It was still very, and it still is to this day.
Right.
And the thing that I so respect and I so thank you for is that we were not in the same cliques. We weren't in the same crew, whatever the term you want to use. But you totally accepted me for being a complete and total schmuck. And
we were both schmucks. We just had a lot of fun.
There's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that. And the thing that I really appreciate and I love you for, and it's just amazing, is that you accepted me. And there's a lot of your peers who did not. And I'm not bitter. It is what it is. What's that?
I said I didn't give a shit what they thought. You were my friend. That's all there was to it.
And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And so thank you. That has meant more to me in my life, and the fact that I can pick up the phone and give you a call and we can laugh and just BS about nothing has been instrumental in life. So thank you for all of that, seriously and honestly.
It goes both ways. I love having your phone calls and randomly just calling me for no reason or calling me back 2 weeks later because you always seem to catch me at the wrong moment, and I'm like, I'm not ignoring you, I swear.
No, you are. Let's just be honest. We're already friends. You don't have to lie to me. It's okay.
No, then you just send me some weird GIF off of Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as I found the gifts on Messenger, that's my thing. That's my thing. I so love doing that. It's insane. I do have to tell a story, and then I want to ask you a couple questions. So I remember one birthday. We were sitting in the cafeteria. I don't know if you remember this. James, my buddy, our pal, and I found out it was your birthday. Do you remember this? And we came over and you were sitting with your crew, which honestly, and I'm not, it is what it is. I didn't get along with anybody other than you and your crew, really. And you were over there hanging out, eating lunch, and James and I found out it was your birthday and came over and sat on your lap and sang you the happy birthday, Marilyn Monroe style. Do you remember that?
Yes. I had totally forgot about that.
You didn't talk to me for like a week after that.
No, I think it was probably just like for a day. I would not talk to him for a week. He probably just embarrassed the crap out of me, and so I didn't know what to do with it.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. That was our job. That was our job between Ferguson, Jensen, and myself. That was like our job in high school, was just to embarrass the crap out of everybody.
Well, we had fun doing it. Made for a lot of good memories. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. The other thing, Michelle, that I'm super impressed and super proud of you for is, what'd you go to college for?
My undergrad is in business management, and then I have a master's in business with an emphasis in health admin.
Right. And then you jumped in and you owned a business for a while.
Yeah, I had a high-end women's shoe boutique for about 2 years, and then I was on a sublease, and the landlord was raising everyone's rent in the shopping area. Like, I think it was at least $1,000 a month, and there was probably half of us that had to just bail because we couldn't afford that raise in rent. So I couldn't afford to move and do TI all over again in a new area, so I just closed it up and on to the next.
Man, I'll tell you what though, I remember when you did that, and I was like, oh, I was so stoked. I was like, you were awesome, because I think I was doing the cell phone store at the same time, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so we were both like jumping head, shoulders, and body into being business people. And you went off and did this boutique thing that, of course, I didn't understand. I'm like, people spending that much money on shoes, I don't get it. But you kicked ass at it. And you were able to step up your game because you were just down the road from Eagle, which is a very high-end area. So you've picked a very good location. And I was so proud that you jumped in and you made it happen in a market that I would have never stepped in, period. So
it was a lot of fun. So I used to be in the lending industry, processing side and stuff. And so I've been in and out of the real estate industry for the last 14 years. And I still have people from when I had the shoe store that are in the industry, and they're like, oh my gosh, we miss your shoe store. When are you going to do it again? Or they'll send me pictures. They'll text me a picture of their shoes that they still have from my store. They're like, look what I'm wearing today. And I think they just call me the shoe lady still. So I don't know. Maybe someday, eventually, I'll do it if I can afford to do it as a hobby kind of a thing. But yeah, I'm still hearing about it.
that's awesome. That tells me two things. Is that it tells me that you found a niche that the market still is interested in, and two, you built relationships. You built those relationships because, not to get on a high horse or a soapbox, but when it comes to business and sales, you're building relationships.
Oh,
and
definitely.
those relationships, you're in the relationship building business now. You're a realtor.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask, do you sell houses or do you build relationships?
I'm a matchmaker.
There you go. Yeah. Matchmaker, make me. Sorry. So which would you rather be called, the shoe lady or milkshake Michelle?
I knew this was going to come up.
I won't tell the story. I promise.
You asked me what was taboo for conversation. That didn't even cross my mind. I don't even know why. That should have been the first thing out of my mouth. But
I gave you a chance. I gave you an opportunity.
you opened the door, and I just stood there like an idiot. And I had no idea what to do with it. So I still can't eat strawberry ice cream. Yeah, I'll go with shoe lady
Shoe lady. I figured as much. And guys, there's a whole other story on that, and that'll be for another day. So, okay, here's the thing. All right, so you were class president our senior year, right? Okay, you graduated with your master's, right?
Yep.
You had a successful business.
Yep.
You've been in and out of the industry you're in one way or the other for, you said, almost 14 years.
Right.
Wow. You know, we come from a very small town, and we don't have, I'm learning more and more as I'm getting back connected with old friends and family. You know, for the longest time, I didn't think that there was a lot of success stories that came out of Salmon, Idaho. But you're one of them for sure. And the more I am seeing people, the more success stories I'm seeing. And that's super exciting. And I feel like when we were talking to Nancy last week, you know, I feel that our crew, our crop, we were and are amazing.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with just the relationships and that we had each other's backs.
I had to laugh when you were talking to Nancy about we'd have meetings and we would be in a huge disagreement and just be yelling at each other. I had forgotten about those, like the disagreements in the room, and then just her letting us just duke it out. There is, like, I would totally do high school all over again for the fact of 4-H and for sports. Like, we had so much fun and we did so many awesome things. We were, like you said about Mr. Bills, like every time he'd see us coming in, he'd turn the other way because we were fundraising fools and we weren't going to let go of you until you gave us money so, or product or whatever we needed for our next trip, kind of a thing. So, yeah, we did so much. And I remember my dad would get so frustrated with me because I was never home to help. Because between being student council and all the 4-H projects, all the leadership projects, playing sports, and regular school, like, I was never home because I don't even know how we managed to get all of that in on a daily basis and still graduate. Like, we were so busy all the time, and it still transpires to today. Like, I can't sit still for 5 seconds. So
yeah. And you know, a lot of that, both you and I come from farming ranching background, and you know, your folks are still ranching.
Yeah.
And a lot of the reason why our asses are always itching to do something is that's the lifestyle we grew up in. Is that you can't make a full living just ranching or just farming anymore unless you have an insane amount of everything. So you're always having to do multiple things to make a living, to make ends meet, you know. And then you bring in 4-H where we did everything. I mean, we did everything. And if Nancy threw a challenge out there, we did it. And if we threw a challenge out there, then she said, go for it, you know?
She did what you said. She just dropped it in front of us. Like, she, like, lobbed a grenade and just to see who would jump on top of it first and just be like, go for it. Who's got it?
Absolutely. I mean, because where did you go? You went on a foreign exchange program. You were an IFSI kid.
Yeah, I went to France.
Yeah.
And I'm still in touch with my host sister via Facebook and stuff over there. And so, yeah, I mean, all the travel we did. I mean, we did a lot of, I think that's what kind of catapulted my love for travel anyways. But gosh, like, my grandparents were big into traveling too. But the 4-H stuff and going with friends, and it was never no, like you said. It's just like, okay, how are you going to get there? This is how much you need, and ready, go. Like, and then if you make it, you make it. If you don't, you don't, kind of a thing. So, but yeah, I went to France, and it It was a learning experience for sure, mostly because the first probably 5 days I was there, it was a disaster. This was back when there was no cell phones, kind of a thing, and I got dumped off of a train in the middle of south of France and picked up by one family. The next day, they're like, "Oh, you're not staying with us. You have to stay with this other family." And I don't even know who these people are. They don't speak English. I don't speak French. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be there. I, ended up calling my mom in a panic 2 days later because I'm like, I don't even know where I am, and I don't think anybody else does either. And so it took them like 24, 48 hours to find me, like where, because my mom and I got cut off on the phone because my phone card ran out. And so it was basically like that was it. And then I was like, well, I hope she can find me. I wasn't ever fearful of where I was. It wasn't that. I was just like, I don't know where I'm at, and I don't think anybody else does either. So, it was the first week was just kind of a rough go of it. But after that, my first host family, I wasn't supposed to be there in the first place, so it was kind of a not desirable situation. But the second host family that I stayed with was amazing, and Genevieve was she didn't speak much English, but she learned that I love chocolate cake, and she make me the best flour chocolate cake to this day, and apple tart and everything else, and got to do a lot of fun experiences, and then met up with the other kid that went to France with me, Anthony, and we're still friends to this day. He's out of Atlanta, and met up with him in Paris for 2 days. So you had two 16-year-old kids running amok in Paris for 2 days, and that was a lot of fun. We barely made our plane flight back to the States, because we were having too much fun. But, yeah.
And that's what it's about. That's really what it's about. And I look back on it. I really look back on it in all of the 4-H family and all the kids. I linked up with an old friend of mine from down Boise, and it's crazy to me to think back that we drove down to Boise and we picked up these three friends of ours. They're girls. So there's two guys in the van. You remember my old purple van?
Yes.
And so it was Matt and I and these three gals, and we jumped in the car, my van, and we went back to Salmon for a whole weekend. And their parents were perfectly okay with it. And because we were trustworthy. We weren't doing anything wrong. We were just having a ton of fun and whatnot. But looking back on it, I'm like, holy crap, they let us take off with their daughters for 3 days, and they knew kind of where we were, but they didn't know anything about what was going on. And it's awesome to have those memories and to know that can happen.
Yeah.
And we went to Albuquerque, and that was a fun trip,
Yeah. Albuquerque, Memphis, DC. Where else did we go? There's a lot of other shorter trips.
Yeah.
One of my, I don't know. They were all so great.
Memphis was a trip, staying in the Peabody Hotel with all the ducks.
Yep. Yeah, I still have I went across my old photo albums here and there and pulled those out, and I think I ran across those not too long ago, so it was good.
I truly believe that you're a phenomenal salesperson. You're a phenomenal relationship builder. You do a really, really good job because you truly care for everyone you're working with. Even when you're working in hospitality, or you're working in restaurants, or you're working in the bars, wherever you were, you did such an amazing job because you cared and you communicated well. And you already said it. There was a lot of businesses in Salmon that they hated seeing us coming because we were walking in with a purpose. And that's really where we were taught sales. I don't remember if you did it or not, but did you ever sell raffle tickets for the auction?
Probably.
For the fair?
Probably.
Yeah.
Sold everything.
And I was usually, and I'm not being arrogant, but I was usually in the top 2, 3 kids that sold the most raffle tickets out in North Fork, right? There's nobody out in North Fork, but I was still selling more raffle tickets than anybody else in the county because I would jump on my bicycle and I would ride for 5 miles and go house to house to house to house because there was the incentive, there was the prize, there was the kudos we got, right? And I look back and Bob Laux, Nancy Chaffin, Melody Cower, all of those team leaders would just tell us, if you want this, you have to do all of this.
Right. Yeah.
And if that's what you want to do, go. And like the demo derby, doing the scone booth at the demo derby.
Oh, we had so much fun doing that. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, that was like some of the highlights of my summer was doing the demo derby.
Favorite time of the year for all of us. Like, we could not wait to work in that booth because it was mayhem and we were really good at it. And we worked all really well together.
And you just hit it on the head. We were amazing together because just give you guys an idea watching this. So in Salmon on the 4th of July, I think they're doing a demo derby this year, but the demolition derby for the Salmon River Days was the biggest event of the entire week. I mean, there were thousands of people that would jam into our tiny little arena and watch a bunch of cars just beat the snot out of each other. That yes, we're rednecks, and I love that. So we would sell scones, elfin ears, whatever you want to call them. And we would do usually scones, nachos, and soda. That was it. That was it. And we would make thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars. We would sell out of everything. And yes, it was organized chaos.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think part of the draw, too, was we were a show to be watched because we were all so loud and obnoxious and having a great time. It radiated out of the front and the sides of this booth that people wanted to come to our booth because they got scone and a show. Like, that's what they got. Because we were just having a heyday and cranking the music and just yelling across each other. I can like see Ferg in the background, like bebopping around, like doing whatever he was doing. And yeah, it was scone and a show is what you got.
You know, I never thought of it that way. I never thought of the showpiece. And you're right. I mean, we always had the tunes cranking. We always had just people running around like crazy. We were always spilling stuff. We were always breaking stuff. We were always running out of stuff. So poor Melody Cower was stuck in the back making dough all night long. And my mom was usually over in the corner making honey butter all night long. And without our parents, none of that would have happened. None of it.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't have. Like, my mom was super supportive about everything. And I think they were really glad when I had my little brown Ford Ranger and I could just buzz around on my own and she no longer had to acquiesce to my requests about I need to go here, I need to do this, we got this, and they were like, oh, we wish you could have had the driver's license when you were like 12.
Right. Right.
What's going on?
Well, and I remember I had so many grease burns because it was always me and usually Chaffin or somebody else back there flipping scones. I just remember that was like my spot. That's just what I did was I was back there flipping scones, you know, and flicking people with hot grease when they're being, you know, jerks or whatever. I just remember that. Now, do you remember the year? And then we got to get off this. But do you remember the year where we were cleaning up? We dumped the oil in the 5-gallon bucket to throw it away, and it melted the bottom out of the bucket, and the oil went everywhere.
No, I don't.
Okay, so because I was usually one of the few that was there at the end cleaning up. And Nancy and I, it was Nancy, I, Mom, and maybe Linda Govan or somebody else was still there. And we were in a hurry and we were trying to get out of there. And we didn't turn off the the fryers as soon as we should have. And we're like, I think we're good. I think we're good. So we dumped like 4 gallons of fry oil into this 5-gallon plastic bucket, and it melted the bottom out. And we had fry oil throughout that entire kitchen.
Oh, jeez.
We were there till like 2 o'clock in the morning, mopping up fry oil off the floor of the kitchen.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Lesson learned. Lesson learned. So, okay, so and we can sit here and tell stories like this all day long, all day long. And that's what I love about. I was thinking about something this morning. I've been working on me a lot lately. I've been working on a lot of the bullshit that's going on in my head that's been there for a very long time. And I'm not there yet, but I'm working really hard at it. And Andy Smith yesterday, paid me a very, 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 very kind compliment, and he said that Dale, it looks like you're finally getting into your, I can't remember how he said it. Basically, you're coming into your own finally with what you're doing, and part of what I've been struggling with this whole kickassery thing is, who do I ask to do this and who do I not, right? Because there's so many people I consider just kick-ass in life. And I had an epiphany this morning, Michelle, and people like yourself are the direct result of this, is I know a lot of people who kick ass. I am so blessed to have people like you who claim me.
Well said. Whatever. We've been buds for so long. I can't imagine us not being buds. Like, seriously.
Amen. Amen. And I'm so excited for the business that you're in and the growth that you've had, and the success you're having. And when we start anything brand new, it's hard to see the success yet.
Right.
It's so hard. It's so hard. And you picked a hard industry, girl. You did. Real estate's no joke.
It's difficult, and I mean, the market here is really good and it's really strong, obviously, and inventory is tight and it's cutthroat. And I mean, there are, I believe, probably at this point, at least 7,500 agents in the valley, I think is some number I heard spit out. So, I mean, you're competing for your business, definitely. Not everybody does it full time, obviously. I live, breathe, eat it, so it's my only thing. I didn't go into this with a second option. This was the option. Like, I mean, I've been around the industry for so long, and I've been contemplating it for so long, and then I was just finally like, okay, let's just go for it, and it's gonna happen because I don't have a plan B. Like, this is, it seems to fit, and so. Yeah, year after year, it's working for me, and I mean, the 7 days a week, 24 hours a day kind of thing. Some days it gets to be where you're like, I need a break. I need like 6 hours of my phone off. Like, I don't want to hear a text message go off, kind of a thing. But everybody needs that space and that time away from things. So that's my why for what I do, and why I work so hard, and I'm available for my clients all the time, which I put that on myself, that they can call, text, email me 10 o'clock at night, and I'll still answer. One, because it's a huge purchase and it's very important to them. No matter what the price tag is, it's very important to them. Therefore, it's very important to me to make sure that I'm available for them when they need me to answer the questions. Even if it's the 16th time that they've asked me the same question, I don't care. There's a lot of moving parts and pieces, especially when you're a first-time home buyer. So you're not going to remember everything. It's not going to all stick. So yeah, ask me at 10 o'clock at night, wait a minute, how does the appraisal work again? Kind of a thing. I don't mind telling you. But my why for working so hard is because I like to travel. So that's, last December I went to South Africa for 2 weeks with one of my besties, and literally left part of my heart in South Africa. It was the most amazing trip. And so that's why, I work so hard so I can take those 10, 14 days and go. I'm still working because I still work when I'm on vacation, but I have a team here that can cover me when I'm gone. So for FaceTime stuff, but yeah, that's how I do what I do.
That's awesome. That's incredible. And you kind of answered what the next question I was going to ask is, how do you reward yourself? And you have these big rewards. And one of the things that a good friend of mine, Mark Stavanis, he preaches to me all the time is, how do you reward yourself for the little things? We all have little wins every day.
Right.
And, how do you take care of you? How do you, we're getting a tour.
I'm running out of juice. Hang on.
So the tour of Michelle's house is, over here we have this, and over here we have that.
My little gypsy house. Yeah, I just realized my thing came up and it said, "Oh, that would have been awesome," and we're out. Joke's on you.
I'll just carry everything all the time. Fine.
What was your last question?
So my last question, okay, I was going to be a smartass. So my last question is, how do you, because you are in an industry that is 24/7, and it's very easy to allow it to completely overwhelm your life. I've known a lot of realtors that have completely burned out because of that. And so how do you take care of you? How do you reward yourself and say, you know what? Today we closed or whatever. How you have your big things and you go on your trips, but how do you take care of yourself week in, week out? Because I think that's something that a lot of us struggle with.
Oh, I struggle with it. I mean, the clients come first. I mean, that's just how it is in my life. So my schedule changes at the drop of a hat. My plans change at the drop of a hat for my clients. So, I mean, my friends understand that, and I try really hard not to bail out last minute on things if I can avoid it. I like to try to keep my appointments in my schedule if I can. I like wine, so there's that. I schedule in like my workouts. They're part of my schedule. That's important to me. I need that time to go if I'm having a rough day, just to go forget about it for an hour, hour and a half, or whatever. I've got my dogs. I mean, they're like the best. They come home, they know I've had a bad day. We grab a glass of wine and sit on the floor and watch a movie, that kind of thing, and snuggle. And I don't know, it's time management, but at the same time, you can drown in it a little bit. And I'm guilty of that, and I know I am. So
yeah,
just finding that point where you're like, okay, stop. Let's back it up a little bit, kind of make some more time for other things. But it is, especially when you're trying to build, and it's so competitive here.
mm-hmm.
So if you don't go when somebody says now, then you're going to lose them, kind of a thing. And I know some other realtors who have been in the industry for a long time, they don't work on the same basis of client relationships, and they say no, they'll work into my schedule, kind of a thing. But I just do what works for me for right now, and see how it goes eventually.
Well, you're building your empire. You're building your legacy. And I say that not even tongue in cheek. I mean, you're building your legacy. You're building your whatever you want to call it. I like legacy because, like you said, and I respect you a lot for this, is that you jumped in. You're like, this is it. There is no other options. This is what I'm doing, and I'm either going to succeed or I'm going to fail, and that's the case. And there's way too many of us, and myself included, several times in my life, where we're like, I'll just stick my toe in it. We'll see. And it's easy for us to not do what's absolutely necessary and get ourselves out of our comfort zone I've been trying to get you out of a piece of your comfort zone for a long time and do more videos of stuff. And I'm still going to harp on you because I think that that's definitely a piece of the marketing puzzle you're missing. That's a conversation for another day. But you jumped in. You're like, hey, Dale, I'm a realtor. I'm like, oh, cool. What else do you have going? Nothing. This is it. I was like, whoo, you go.
Everybody else, they're like, well, I got the whole, you're crazy, like, you should have something else, or I got we've been thinking about doing this for the last 8 years, thank God you're finally doing it. Like, I kind of, thought about it since, gosh, forever, but it's scary to go from a regular paycheck to 100% commission, and you're on your own and you build everything. Like,
yeah.
Marketing, you build the branding, you build. But I mean, I've been in and out of all of those facets around the industry for so long. I kind of had bits and pieces of things I knew I wanted to do or didn't want to do, and I've had some awesome learning curves on a few things that stung quite a bit. And so, note to self, don't do that again. But for the most part, I don't regret it at all, like taking the leap. I mean, I wasn't scared when I did it, to be honest. It just seemed like a logical next step. But after a while, then you're like, maybe I should have thought about this a little bit more. Especially, maybe sometimes my parents were like, maybe you should have thought about this a little bit more. But then they see how hard I work and how hard I work for my clients and the successes I've had. And it's going well. So it's what you put into it.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, I've most of what I've done, I've learned along the way. I'm like, so Dale, how are you going to do that? My wife asks me this all the time. So you're doing something new, shocker. How are you going to do it? Hell if I know. I'm just jumping in. We're going to figure this out as we go. And of course, she's a very logical person. She's very structured. She's in the military. That it fits with her personality. And then there's me over here going, and it causes some very tense conversations. But at the end of the day, though, it's who a lot of us are, and I was having a great chat with my buddy John Mayhew, the other day, and the conversation we had was that it takes all kinds of us. It takes it. We can't have everyone like Michelle Jakovac. We can't have a whole bunch of Dale Maxwells. God forbid, that would not work. We need executives. We need bankers. We need realtors. We need ditch diggers. We need toilet scrubbers. We need, burger flippers. We need everyone. And I love when someone says, I really enjoy what I'm doing. Or they say, I really don't care what I'm doing as long as I'm healthy, as long as my family's taken care of, as long as I'm like, awesome, rock on. But what breaks my heart and what hurts, and you and I have had this conversation, is when people aren't happy, when they're not okay, when they're miserable, and it's like, okay, so why are you still working here? Or why are you still in this industry? Or if things suck this bad, why are you here right now? And those are the conversations that hurt, but those are also the conversations that really are fulfilling because, you can help people work through it or talk through it or whatever. So anyway.
You are the reason why my mug is on my yard signs and why I started doing video walkthroughs on my open houses and stuff, because you would beat that horse over and over to where on my yard signs when I was designing everything and going back and forth between designs, you're like, put your face on it. I'm like, no. Put your face on it. No. And so I had the designer draw up a couple designs, and then I threw it out as a poll to friends, and you won. And so you've helped my marketing because of pushing me in areas where I don't like to be. Like I don't like to do videos. This is easy for me conversation-wise right now because you're a friend, but like other videos or doing other things, they might appear like it's easy, but internally they're hard for me. Like I don't like doing them, but
Yeah.
I say do it. So I say fine.
I love it. And I remember that, when because you kicked it over to me, which I'm very flattered that you asked my opinion. I'm really, really flattered. You're like, hey, how do you like this? I'm like, looks great. Where's your face? Well, I'm not putting my face on there. Why the hell not? Like, I'm just not putting my face on there. Okay, let's talk about this. If you remember, we were texting or emailing, and I picked up the phone and I called you.
Yeah.
Like, and I picked up the phone and I'm like, no, this is you're in the real estate industry. You're selling your face. You're not selling property. Your sales is you. You are selling you, And I remember you kind of, I'm not saying you got snotty, but you got kind of a little firm back to me. You're like, Dale, no, I'm not doing it. I'm like, all right, fair enough. But I'm just telling you, you're missing out. And so, yeah, I like this. I'm not a braggart, but yeah, I won.
I don't like being front and center. Like it's not my gig. I'd rather be the worker, be in the background and making sure everything is. So having my mug on something or I don't know, video stuff, it's uncomfortable.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Our senior year, what position did you hold our senior year?
Senior president, but
okay, it's not this. You were freaking class president.
Stop. It's not because it's because of all the projects. It's not because I like to get in front of the entire class and speak. Granted, back then I had no problem talking in front of groups of people, but I had a speech in my master's class that literally has halted me from doing speeches anymore because of a literal brain fart that dropped a grade. But it, like, my ability to speak in front of a lot of people back then was super easy. Now it's not the same comfort level, even remotely. But it wasn't because I got to stand up in front of everybody and go, hey, look at me, talk to you about whatever is going on. It was because I wanted to be part of orchestrating the projects and getting us through everything, and because it was what I did. Like, that's organizing and herding cats is what I do still. So
yeah, and you did a phenomenal job at it. And I'm a little upset at you and disappointed as well that you're not doing our class reunion. So just joking. Don't send me.
The first one, I did the first one. You opted to take up the second one. I said go for it.
yeah. So, but and that's a valid point. And I would love if you'd be willing to. I'd love to help you through this brain fart issue. And because here's the thing, and we need to wrap this up. But here's the thing, I get people talking to me all the time. And I don't know if you remember when we very first met, when I very first started when I first joined Builders Club and in the 8th grade, I was a wallflower. I didn't talk to anybody. You guys helped me through that so much. And that's one of the things that I owe you for the rest of my life is helping me through that. But people to this day, they're like, Dale, you're so natural at this, and I can never do what you do. I'm like, if I didn't have the people in my life that believed in me more than I believed in myself, I would not be sitting here talking like this, period. And it's been a lifelong process. And when it comes to overcoming fears and overcoming the bullshit that goes on in our heads, it's a process. And I'm so impressed that you have taken on these challenges and have pushed through them, and practice makes perfect. We get over the things that fear is just it's a mental game that we play with ourselves. That's what it comes down to, So anyway, yeah, that was a brain fart. I was going somewhere with that, and then it went poof.
It's contagious.
Yeah. I have no idea where I was going with that. It was profound up here for about that long.
And then it went away.
Yeah, it may not have ever been there. It could have been just like, mm-mm. So here's what I want to do this again. And I want to work with you because here's the thing. I'm going to put this out is that you have a great personality, you have a great face, you have a great story, you have a great love for what you do. You build relationships very, very well. So I'm super excited to see where you're going with things. I would love to work with you a little bit more, but more importantly, as long as you keep picking up the phone every, fourth or fifth time I call because I'm not on your schedule, then
Please.
love you, kiddo. Is there anything you want to end this thing with?
Nothing in particular. This has been really fun. I appreciate it, and I've loved watching all your videos this week and last week, and they've been great and huge walks down memory lane, and especially the one with Nancy hit home. And my gosh, I haven't seen her for so long that it was like a flood of memories. And so, and even when anybody else you've been talking to, I've loved just going back and watching all the videos. So I think you're on to a great thing, and you're amazing yourself. And so just keep doing what you're doing because we'll be here for you no matter what.
I appreciate that. I really do. And speaking of memory lane, one of our old buddies is not he's refusing to get on here. So reach out to Swain and tell him.
What? Really? He's refusing?
Yeah. So I'm throwing that out there, buddy. I'm throwing the gauntlet. So you got to jump on with Swain and say, Swain, we're doing this. So
Swain, you're doing this.
There you go. All right, guys. I love you, sis. I really do. I appreciate everything that you've given me and all the support and the laughs. I'll tell you what, when I'm having a rough day, you're one of the first people I think about calling because you and I just laugh about absolutely nothing. And laughter is the best medicine.
Every time. Yeah, every time.
So all right, kiddo, you have a rocking day, and we'll talk to you soon. Everybody else that's out there, thanks for hanging out and just listening to us BS and just reminisce and talk. It's funny. A lot of people ask, they're like, so what are we going to be talking about? Yeah, I don't know. Let's throw some topics out there, and then we're going to go where the conversation goes. And what I've found is there's more and more of these formats and a lot of people that are talking that are so polished and so perfect and the lighting's perfect and this and that and everything else. And when it comes to the market, when it comes to what people are looking for, it seems like people are just wanting real. They're just wanting realism and non-canned stuff, and you don't get any more random than me. So that's what this has been. This has been a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. In the month of January, I'm scheduling a lot more of these. I've been pushing really hard the last 2 weeks because we're going into Christmas break. So if you guys want, jump on here, reach out to me. If you want to just BS, if you're an old friend, if you don't know me at all, let's chat anyway. I'm looking for people who kick ass. I have an insane number of those people in my personal life, and I'm looking to add to the list. So we're also building a YouTube channel so that all of this is archived over on our YouTube channel. We'll be rolling that out the first of the year. So you guys are amazing. Keep smiling. Michelle, you rock. I love you, sis. I'll talk to you soon.